Welcome to the Journey to a Million podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Walker. This podcast is about my personal journey from being $25,000 in debt to getting to $1 million of net worth by the age of 43. Follow along with my journey, implement the ideas, and let's do it together. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's get started. What's up out there, guys, and welcome to the Journey to a Million podcast. Today is Tuesday, December 7th, and got a few things to talk about here today. We saw a massive pullback in the crypto markets over this past week and weekend, and we're seeing a little bit of a recovery now. So it's interesting when I'm doing this podcast, every week, because what's happened between Thursday and what's happened now, it's a lot better today than it was a few days ago. So, these types of things are going to happen. And I think there's some takeaways from that. We're going to dive into that and going to look at a few coins in the overall market in general and tell you why I'm still bullish. So I'm going to actually just go and tell you guys how I'm feeling about the market right now. So let's take a look at Bitcoin and what it did over this past week. Let me share my screen here. All right, so we're looking at coin market cap here, and this is the Bitcoin chart from, let's see, March of 2019 until today, basically. So Bitcoin is sitting just at about 50,000 right now. And I want to leave this chart open because I'm going to kind of use it as a thing. So, reference for a couple other cycles. So looking at what Bitcoin did from the past week or so, we saw a big drop with news of the new variant, of course. And, that's to be expected. There's a lot of fear based on that. But there are some, potential positives as far as it might not be as bad or severe. And if that happens and more people are able to get it, and then it doesn't actually hurt them, and it's something that everybody can kind of get immunity to, then I think that could be a good long-term thing for humanity. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm basing this off of just stuff that I heard on BitBoy. I think he's, got a good read on that situation. I don't want to speak like I'm an expert on that, but I'm just kind of regurgitating that information here. But I think what I want to kind of focus on is just that's basically the reason, and that plus the deflation talks from the Fed has, kind of sent the markets, especially tech stocks, down, big time. Even a stock like DocuSign, that stock, let me see what that move was. DocuSign stock here. So that one over the past, couple weeks, wow, such a big drop the other day, was at 250 almost, and then dropped to 143 and is now at 138.60. So a lot of these were inflated, since the pandemic happened, and a lot of these tech stocks were pumped up. As you can see, if we go back to like the 5-year, DocuSign was at, is that right? 13. Yeah. Sorry, it was about $100. Sorry, I'm not reading this right. It's about $100, and then it went all the way up to in the 300s, and then just kind of corrected big time. So I don't know how much of that is accurate as far as what it should be at, but I mean that's just one example of some of the tech stocks plus Bitcoin that kind of corrected last week, and we're seeing kind of a recovery here. Let me open up a new, let's see if I can just look at the weekly on Bitcoin. Is it this one? Yeah, here we go. So yeah, we're just seeing we saw a severe drop from about 57 down to about 43, and then we've been slowly building up again. But basically the point of this all is that I do think we're still in a bull trend, and here's why. Because if you look at this trend line here, I'm trying to get it. I wish it wouldn't show up with all the pop-ups, but you can see here where my, mouse pointer is, that we're on this kind of bull curve here. And it's just, the support that we hit if this was before, our support was here down at about the 43,000, but now our support, is at the 50 to 47 level. So, we corrected pretty hard, but I do think, like, if you look at this, based on where we're moving, we're in this still kind of like clear bull trend. And I think it's interesting to look at very right now, because Bitcoin at 50,000, I think we're going to look back and kind of laugh that everybody was worried about it. And here's why. In my opinion, this is our bull market from 2016 to 2018 was I did March 2nd to March, 1st or something like that, 2018. Or 2019. So it was 2016 to 2019 here, just looking at this bull run. And it was just like a big parabolic, top here. But if you kind of look at these more closely, based on these times, we were in 2016, we get this little pop up here, and then another leg up, a big correction. And that's when we start to then we get one more run up here, and then we go parabolic after that. We kind of had a similar pattern here in 2020, because if you look at our 2020 in April here, that's when we were kind of peaking out, March to April. And then we had a second run up, then another top. And then now we're kind of like continue that trend up. If you look at these, 2013 is kind of like, it's really hard to compare, because I don't think there was as much activity in the market, and a lot of things are kind of, I think they're extending the market based on just there's more players in the market, and it's not as just people, FOMO retail trading and pushing the price of Bitcoin up. This is 2013 bull run going up to 1,000 or so. And then it just kind of trailed off after that because everybody was jumping out. So it was just a straight FOMO curve, whereas 2017 was a little more complex. All right, so you have April, we get this run up, okay? And then we get the second run up here with this big correction, okay? And then we get one more, then we get the blow off top here, okay? And the time we get to about that point that we're looking at this, big parabolic spike is about, October, November. That's a big drop from 2017, November 12th. It goes from 7,000 down to 5,950. And then we continue all the way up from there to about 20K. All right. And so if you look here, from this chart, we get this first initial run up, and that's our April. Then we get the second run up here. Like, we could technically still be in this part right here. This looks very similar to what this area looked like here. And so I think we're somewhere, to me, between like right here to right here. So I think we just came off of one of these dramatic pullbacks here, obviously, but I think we could almost be at this point right here. Like, to me, if I had to guess, this is where I think we are. I think everything seems like it's about a couple months off here based on this one. So it's just that I think the second wave on this 2017 chart was a good bit higher, but I mean, you can kind of see, there's a lot of similarities in this. I'm going to zoom in there, see if we can see this. Okay. So you get the May through July correction here, and then a pump up in about August. And then for us, it was September. Okay. So you have let me spread this out. So you get the March through April, then it corrects June, then pumping up again August through September, and then we're correcting again. So just based on what we're looking at on this bull run, it kind of seems like we're just extended out a little bit. And I think people are expecting like a time frame where we're going to go through, like, we were projected like September as like the end of the Bitcoin bull run. But I think we're going to have a few more months here. And I think that's what I do think we're going to get back to this bear market, maybe late next year or something like that. Or it could just top out, like I think it'll top out like early 2022 or something like that. I haven't taken the time to figure out the exact dates, but to me, based on these patterns, I just think we are in this second run up here, and we just had our last pullback before we're about to see the big move up. Okay. That being said, I want to stress the importance of taking profits and saying this. I can't say that I'm great at this, and I've, made mistakes and don't like, I haven't executed all the profit taking that I should have this bull run. I think that's been one of my biggest mistakes and learning lessons this bull run is when you see things just going parabolic and you feel that euphoria, like that's a time to shave some off the top and go put some money on the sidelines. Because when you lose 20% of your portfolio in 2 days, that hurts. And it takes a while for that to come back. Because for instance, like I didn't realize how many massive pullbacks there were. And I think my intuition when we see Bitcoin in, at this point, just going straight up, and I'm like, okay, like logic tells me this isn't going to be a straight up curve. I've never seen that in any investing before, but I'd never been part of these bull runs in Bitcoin before. And I was like, I guess that's just how it goes. But then when we have pullbacks, everyone's saying that's normal. But I really didn't hear a lot of people talking about the pullbacks before they happened when things were going 60K, like people saying, hey, we're most likely going to have a 50% or 30% pullback. They only talked about the pullbacks after they happened and just saying, hey, hold and everything's going to be fine. But I would have loved to hear people talking about them. And if I missed it, I watched, several YouTube channels and I didn't hear anyone talking about a pullback at 60K, only Bitcoin to 100K. So maybe I missed something, but I'll just say that that's one thing that I want to go into next bull run. Whenever we're going straight up, I want to take about 20% of my money and sell it at that point. So that way, when we come back and we retest these support levels, I can throw 20% or 50% back in, and then 1.5x my money or 1.25 what I have invested, because I could be 2 to 3x at least what I have right now if I had taken profits better. And just as an example, like Elrond, eGold was one that I was up to, I think we got in at 125 and it got up to 500, and I knew I should have taken profits there and didn't, and now it's under 300. So that's 40% of my gains just wiped out, and now I have to wait for that to come back. So if I had sold 20%, I would have at least had 20% to jump back in where I am now, and I could have probably 1.25x that investment, added 25% onto my investment because of the money I had on the sidelines. Another one was AVAX. We got in at 65 and rode it up to 150 and knew we should have taken profits there, but did not. And that's one that went back down to like 80. So we lost 50%. Almost all of our gains, like basically everything but $15. And now it's going to come back up, I'm sure 90 or so. But those are two where it's like you can sell 20%. And the times that I have taken profits, like I sold Polkadot. I had some Polkadot at around, 20. It got to about 40 or 50, something like that. And I sold, 25%. And I thought 25% was going to be, just like, I was like, man, I'm just like selling and going to cash. But Polkadot, I would have lost that money because it's back down to 30 now, so at least I took something out and did something with it that was, beneficial for me financially, because otherwise it would just be lost in the ether and, vanished based on like, retesting to the 30s. So then another one was Mana, and I'm glad that I took profits on that, because when it went from our initial investment was 30 cents and it was at 80 and it went to 130, I was like, okay, at 2x, like that's a good time to sell some. So I sold, I think 20% that night, woke up the next morning and it was at $2, and then watched it go all the way up to $5 that day. And so we sold, I think around 360 or $4. The rest of it, I tried to sell it all at 4, and then, or half of it, and then most of it, I don't even remember. But the sell order didn't go through, and I didn't realize for about 10 minutes. And, that one was, by the time we were able to sell it again, it was like 368. So it's one of those things. But at the same time, just really happy. And that day felt surreal, and it felt great to take profits and sell, 90% of my position. Cause I was like, if it goes from 80 to $5 in a day, I know that's not sustainable. And I don't know where it's going to come back down and test to. But we jump back in, in the threes, I think, something like that. Just a small percentage back. And, I'm glad we did, because I mean, mana has recovered nicely, but those types of things, it's like, you just know when it's going straight up, that's a time to sell. It's always when you feel euphoric, and you want to say how much you've made and how great you're doing and all that. Like, that's the feeling. Like, that's what I've recognized is whenever you feel on top of the world and that it's never going to stop, like that's when you sell a small percentage and treat yourself. That's what I'll start calling it. Be proud of yourself. So another one was Cardano. I've had that and it went up to $3, and could have sold a lot in the threes, or 250 or $2, but now we're back at 139 and we got to wait again. So it definitely hurts to see your gains lost. And I think that's what I need to work on next time for the next bull run after we load up is, treating myself with a 20% sell whenever things get crazy and pump. 25%, maybe. We'll see. I think 25 sounds good. I like that. All right. So enough about that. Looking at some coins that I think are in a good position for the long term is crypto.com. I'm kind of looking at these. I mean, obviously crypto, it's already way, way, way up. It went from 19 cents to $1, almost 80. Yeah, almost hit $1. And then now is back in the 60s. Okay. So that's very high. It's been as low as like, 20 cents and that's in 2021. What was it during the bear market? Let's see, down to about 3 cents. Wow. So that's a nice gain right there. I mean, I never thought crypto.com would see that kind of parabolic move. But I think one thing I'm thinking about here is these exchange tokens. BitBoy did mention this one, FTX token, and I'm kind of with him on that. Is that for mainstream crypto adoption? Okay, so if we're at this point, like I was saying, where I think we're in 2017. At this point, we're about to really churn into fourth or fifth gear here. For the last leg of the bull run and see like this parabolic spike when everything is going to go in mania. I think these exchange tokens are going to be the thing that people buy, because crypto.com, they're obviously sponsoring the LA Lakers now. And that's the new arena there in LA, and maybe a few other sports teams play there. But, even at 61 cents, I think a lot of people are going to ape into this and say, hey, I'm buying crypto, like I'm getting crypto.com, and they're going to push them to buy the crypto.com coin. They're going to see it at 61 cents and say, hey, this is my get rich quick, opportunity with crypto. There's going to be a lot of FOMO. And as more and more people get into this, I definitely see them getting into crypto.com. So I expect I'm actually going to, put my money where my mouth is. And I think I'll look into this for like, the last remaining parts of the bull run here. I mean, I'm looking at maybe let's count, if we're right here, that is September to December, and that would be 4 months. So let's say we're in a 3 month, range of like till the end Bitcoin spikes. And then we maybe have another month after that with altcoins. So crypto, it could go up from here. I think it's off a nice pullback and we're retesting that support level. So I think that's a good time to invest. FTX is in the same boat. If you look at the yearly, It started at $5. I didn't realize it was, well, I never even heard of FTX till football season this year because Tom Brady's advertising it. But I think that's another one is I think you're going to see FTX as more and more people see that spot. It's all about like the sponsorship and the mainstream. Like, I mean, this is a weird thing to point out, but just the logo of FTX looks good. I think they're going to market to the mainstream. And that's going to be like kind of the way for people that are sports type people who watch baseball and football and are just like kind of looking to get into crypto, but not really sure how. I think FTX is going to be the onboard for that. And I think it's going to be a little bit savvier version of crypto.com, maybe. I'm honestly just ballparking this, but I think you might see more people on crypto.com look for that cheap 61-cent coin, whereas FTX you're going to see a 42. But then understand that like the max supply, if you look at crypto.com, let's see, max supply, circulating supply of 25 billion already, max supply of 30 billion. Okay. And then for FTX, max supply is 352 million. So it's a lot less max supply. And that means the price can inflate by a lot more if the market cap pumps. And the market cap for FTX is about 6 billion. And market cap for crypto.com is about 15 billion. Okay. So like, let's say the market cap for FTX catches crypto.com and that's a 3x. So that means your price is going to go into the 120s. All right. Which of course is the same percentage as if crypto.com went to $1.80. It's all a 3x from there. But I could see FTX 3xing before I see crypto.com 3xing. So we'll see how that goes. But either way, I think both of these will look pretty good. But I can definitely see some people putting in FTX token if they understand the supply aspect. They won't be scared off by the price tag. I think a lot of new crypto investors see the cheapest coin like XRP, and that's why so many people have gotten into XRP because if it's $1, people are more likely to buy that if they're new to the crypto game. But speaking of cheap coins, UFO gaming is one that I'm going to look at these two, crypto and FTX plus UFO gaming. I don't really use any of the MetaMask, Uniswap type exchanges because I haven't really wanted to deal with that yet. I'm sure you can get the best deals on coins before they come out, but at the same time, I'd prefer to stick with the more popular exchanges just to keep it simple for myself. Right now, I think there's plenty of opportunities still there, but I was excited to see that UFO gaming is now on Coinbase Wallet. And I think that'll be a big boom for it because Leo Trades and Alex Becker have both been talking about UFO gaming. And I think, I'm instead of me trying to research the stuff, I would rather just listen to them. That's kind of like not outsourcing, but just letting people who are experts, guide you into the right aspect. I could probably find one and see which one I like. But there's no guarantee that the one I pick is going to be actually successful. I think these guys have a really good pulse on what's going on in gaming crypto. So if they both like UFO gaming and we've gone from this point where we're at, I think 5 zeros and a 7 to 4 zeros and a 3, that's a 4x. And we got all the way up to 50 cents, 55, something like that. And then we're on a big pullback. So yesterday would have been the perfect time to buy when it was at 4 zeros and a 2. Now we're at 4 zeros and a 3. So that's a 50% gain in one day. But that's just a correction here. If you look at that trend line and you think we're on that same level for Bitcoin, where it's, if we're on that upward trend, it would mean that like UFO gaming probably pulls back to about a 2.5. And then we see that big continuation pattern where it just continues to go up. So those are my 3 that I'm really looking at for the rest of the bull run. I think if you're looking for a blue chip portfolio, I would look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, Polkadot. Luna's pumped a lot. It's not the best time, I think, to jump in on that one, but it's looking great. And remember that one was at $5 like a year ago. Avalanche and Matic still at an all-time high. So it's maybe not the best time to buy. Excuse me. But, I think we're on a continuation pattern here. And if you look at this, it's on a spike right now. I'd probably wait for it just to dip just a little bit, but it's most likely going to keep going and maybe hit about $10 here before the end of it. Oh, it's a market cap 16 billion, and Matic is in like the top 20 now still, I believe. Yeah. So it could definitely hit the top 10. I think it definitely could overtake, I could definitely overtake Shiba, could definitely overtake Dogecoin. So top 12 maybe. And then we'll see from there. And then if nothing happens with XRP, we'll see how much that one holds on to. But I mean, it would be a long way to go. Matic's at 16 billion and then XRP's at 38 billion. So big gap there. Cardano is still holding strong at $46 billion market cap, considering all the pullback and, gains that have been lost on that. It's really good. So hopefully that one can get back up to like $100 million market cap and pass Binance coin or something. But yeah, that's rough. Tough for the Cardano holders, and my chain link is still, back to $20. Hopefully DeFi gets another pump before the end of the bull market. And yeah. So I basically wanted to come on today and talk about why I think we are just in this continued pattern of 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to have the parabolic uptrend. And so we've had 1 and then kind of a 2, but we could still be somewhere in this area. That's my pick, is that we're in somewhere between here and here. Either way, that means we have a long way to go. So I definitely would be fine with seeing like a continued cycle here, or extended out about 3 months past people thinking it was September, then it was December. It could still be December. That would be wild if we somehow went from like 50 to 100 to 150. But I can much more likely see us slowly climbing up to about 60 to 70 over the next month or two, and then having a big spike to start 2022, and then that's it. So that's my thought. Like I said, not financial advice, just my thought. And I think it's interesting, after listening to the experts on the chart patterns and all that for the past 1.5 to 2 years, I realized like just kind of go with your gut a lot of times. And if you think something is overextended, don't be afraid to take profits. I've taken profits on some, and I haven't taken profits on others, and I've never regretted taking the profits, but I've always regretted not taking the profits if it pulls back. So then you have to get on the climb all over again. You fall back down the mountain and you got to start all over again. So take profits 20 to 25%. That's my recommendation, or my pick of what I'm going to do for the future. Treat yourself, and then that way you have some money on the side and you can do whatever you want with that. Okay. All right. That's it for today. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I was going to do my crypto and then sports picks, but I'll do that on an episode on Thursday. So stay tuned for that, and have a good rest of the week. I'll see you later.